So guys, this is how many tires I've gone through in the past year with my Dodge Challenger Scat Pack.
Standing there, we were talking close. Started on the 4th of July. We had all the fire, but oh, we had no money, and oh, it was a glorious time. Images, they were flashing outside, and I can see the glint in your eyes.
What's going on, guys? It's Austin with Gone in 60. Thank you guys for jumping into the channel today. I have a 1-year review that is overdue by a month that I'm going to give you guys on what I think of my 2019 Dodge Challenger Scat Pack. And it was just over a year ago that I was excited to get this car. I flew out to Lincoln, Nebraska, purchased it and drove it home. And I want to share with you guys what it's been like to own it for this past year. Okay guys, so jumping into my thoughts and the list that I want to share with you guys of what it's been like to own this car for this past year. And honestly, it has been nothing short of amazing. Owning this car honestly has been a dream come true for me. I love everything about this car. I'm going to share with you guys just a few things that I've learned over this past year, maybe a couple things that I wish Dodge would have changed, but ultimately guys, the pros far outweigh the cons in owning these cars. And if you guys are on the fence about getting a Dodge Challenger Scat Pack, just jump guys and do it because it's completely worth it. So what I want to kind of jump into is first and foremost, really the power, the drivetrain. I think that's why people buy these cars. So that's kind of where I want to start off my list today. And so the things that I want to talk to you guys about is I purchased a manual over an automatic, and that was widely debated between me and my dad, between other people. I have zero regrets whatsoever buying a manual transmission in this car. I would do it over and over again, and if I add other cars to the channel, they're going to be manuals. So I have no regrets there from owning a manual. I've done videos on what it's like to drive this on a daily basis, so make sure and check that out. But very easy to drive. The manual transmission is awesome. In terms of, power, I will give this caveat to you guys. Whatever model you're buying, whether that's a V6 or that's a V8, Scat Pack, RT, Hellcat, whatever you're buying, you guys are always going to crave more power. You're going to get used to the power that your car has. So if the car absolutely doesn't just blow you away when you test drive it in terms of power, I can promise you after about a year to maybe 2 years, maybe even less than a year, you guys are going to be sitting there wishing you would have got more power, or you're going to be looking into mods to adding to this car. So for me, this car has a great amount of power. I am used to the power now. If I were to drive an RT, if I were to drive a V6 in this, I would be very disappointed in terms of power, but that's just my opinion. You guys obviously let me know what you guys think, but you guys will get used to the power that your car has, whatever model that you're buying. So if when you drive it, if it doesn't blow you away, chances are the honeymoon stage is going to be pretty quick when it comes to power. The car sometimes feels like really awake and alive and really fast, and sometimes it feels slow. I do have a modification that I will be doing soon. I am going to be installing a pedal box just to eliminate some of that throttle lag. But there's times the car feels awesome. There's the times the car feels a little bit slower. One thing that, I want to touch on that maybe I haven't been overly thrilled with, are my 0 to 60 times. The best I've ever gotten was like over a year ago was 4.7. Since then, I'm lucky if I can get to 5.2. So if you guys are buying these cars for just a 0 to 60 monster, they are not it. You're not going to get faster than that. There's a lot of cars out there that will keep up to you between 0 to 60 miles an hour. Just flat out want to warn you guys about that. Now, if you're doing a roll race around 40, 50, 60, and you step on it, it's going to be hard for a lot of cars to catch you. But that is something that I'm a little bit disappointed with. I think tires have a big part to do with that. I think the elevation where I live is really tough and hard to do that. But that is one thing that, kind of looking at it, I don't know, like as you look at the Mustangs or Camaros, if you guys line up against one of those, the 5.0, the 10-speed transmissions, you guys are going to lose. You're not going to beat those cars for the weight of them. But still, this car is a true muscle car. They've stayed true to their roots, but that is something that over this past year, I haven't been overly thrilled with. I do want to try and improve that, but that is something of note. And granted, I know I have a manual transmission, so it's going to be a little bit slower because I have to manually shift the car. But anyways, guys, that is something that over this past year, maybe I haven't been as crazy about. One word of warning and caution, a lot of people are going to want to try and race you. And I don't know what it is for me, but I feel like I could race a Tesla almost every other day here in Utah. I don't know why, but they're always lining up next to me. But I'm always having cars lining up next to me wanting to race, so that just comes with the territory. What's so cool about owning a Dodge, guys, is you're really part of this culture. Mopar, no car, smiles per gallon. Anytime I see a fellow Dodge owner, they wave at me, they flash their lights at me, they roll down their windows and give the thumbs up. And that is really just awesome to be a part of. And I love that. And so just overall, the Dodge brand has been great to me. In terms of reliability, this car has been very reliable. I did have one issue with the car about 6 to 7 months after owning it. My battery died. I don't know why it died. They couldn't diagnose why it was, but, and you never know. You never know how long these cars are sitting at dealerships for. You never know if somebody left a light on, whatever the thing might be. But in terms of reliability, I think these cars are very reliable, guys. I think you guys can daily them. I think you can rod them. I think they will take the abuse that you guys throw at them. And I actually think these cars are well made. When you drive down the road, you can feel it. These chassis are very heavy on these cars. They're very solid, but overall, I'm very pleased with just reliability of the car. I haven't had any issues whatsoever other than the battery. Haven't had any issues since then. So, I can tell this car is going to last a while. I've only put about 7,700 miles on the car since owning it. So I haven't driven a lot in this last year given COVID and everything, but I try and drive it at least once a day, whether to go get lunch or whether to drive it at night. They're addicting to drive. You want to drive them all the time. I personally don't know how people put their car away and can't drive it. It would kill me if I had to do this with this. I love the car that much. In terms of some of the costs, I've covered some of the gas mileage and things in previous videos. Guys, if you're buying these cars for gas mileage, you're dumb. Don't. I do think, honestly, in my opinion, they get great gas mileage for what they are. I average anywhere from, 14 to 16, maybe 17 around town. I don't drive, very cautiously. I drive like I want to drive. And so 14 to 17. And on the freeway, I've pushed 23 to 24 miles per gallon. So, guys, that's amazing for a car that puts out almost 500 horsepower. So from a cost perspective of gas, you guys can obviously do the calculations on that. In terms of, I've done a video on that so you guys can kind of see really what it's like and how much it would cost to be able to fill up this thing on a daily or weekly basis. But, I was coming from a 2008 Infiniti G35X. It did not have the CVT transmission, and I averaged around 18 to 19 miles per gallon. So for me, I haven't noticed a single difference coming from that car to this car in terms of gas mileage. When it comes to oil changes, obviously, I'm doing those at Dodge. You can expect around $100 per oil change. That's with changing, obviously, the synthetic and also rotating the tires. They recommend it. So the first one that I went in for, that's about the cost of it. It was around $110 if I remember right. So eventually I'll probably look into changing the oil myself. But that's what you guys can rely on in terms of cost for the car. All right, just maybe nitpicking a couple things. I've already done the 7 things I love about my car, 7 things I hate about my car. One thing that I've discovered lately after owning this for a year, and given COVID and going to a lot of drive-thrus and everything, is the auto, and it does it automatically when you want it to go down. But say I'm sitting in the drive-thru, I have a manual transmission, as you guys can see, and I go here and I click once to roll up the window. It does not do that. So you have to manually do this. I'm putting my food over here and shifting gears. So that is one thing that I haven't liked recently that I've noticed has really bugged me. It didn't bug me at first, but it's started to bug me more and more lately. And let me jump out here and just show you guys one other thing that I don't like. One other thing that I'm not a fan of, I love the back end of these cars, but this material that they put on here, I am super careful with, and my car is dirty right now, so don't pay too much attention to that. But back here, I just want to let you guys know, it is going to be almost impossible to keep this scratch free. Whatever this material is, just a cheap plastic, it is really hard to keep clean. It is really hard to not scratch it, to mar it. This is a little bit more, sturdy material. I wish they would have done something different back here, because over time, these just when you're behind a Dodge Challenger at a stoplight, just look at it in the light really good and you guys can see what I'm talking about. But that is one thing that I've realized that I haven't liked as of lately for the car, because I've noticed as I clean it, and I try to be as careful as I can, that there's some scratches and things that show on there. The Mustangs, I think, are probably even worse because they have the same material and they have even more of it on the back end of it. So really just nitpicking, but those are a couple things lately that have just kind of bugged me a little bit about the car. All right, I know another thing that's not very big to everybody, and I have my seat down back here in the back. I have 2 kids that I can put both of their car seats in this car and I don't have to move my seat forward. I think the space in these cars is absolutely amazing for what you get in these. And to be able to fit 2 kids in the back, in the trunk, let me show you guys kind of what we're looking at with the trunk. But as you guys can see here in the trunk, I mean, there's so much space in these dang cars. It's awesome. So I have my subwoofer in here, but look how far back in that is. I could literally
comfortably fits 2 turkey sandwiches or 70 packs of gum. Say what? Look, I'm not lying. Gum for days. Is this a gumball machine?
Like probably 2 or 3 sets of golf clubs in here. I've had my golf clubs in here. I've had groceries in here. The space of these cars is awesome. And that brings me to another point of just how well these things drive down the road. If you are looking for a cruiser, in my opinion, the most comfortable, best cruising car out there is the Dodge Challenger. It is extremely comfortable, guys. This chassis is built off of a Mercedes chassis. It's heavy, but man, this car just goes so smooth down the road. It is so easy to drive. There's so much space. It's so comfortable. And I think for me, that is something that is huge. So if you guys are out there just looking for kind of a cruiser that you just kind of want to cruise across the country in, this is it. The ride is great. It's smooth. It's comfortable. There's tons of space in there. There's a lot of, good visibility out of the car. So for me, that's just something that I've loved about owning it. All right, so what about tires? What does my tire situation look like? So guys, this is how many tires I have gone through in the past year with my Dodge Challenger Scat Pack. So if you guys are gonna have this car, you're gonna go through tires like crazy. I'm just messing with you guys. This is an old abandoned trailer I found with all these tires. But honestly, there kind of is some truth to this. You're gonna go through tires quick. These cars, if you're under 50 miles an hour, you're gonna spin the tires wherever you go. And honestly, what I've noticed, the more I drive it, the more I spin them, obviously, the less traction you're gonna have. So apologize, my wheels are just a little bit dirty from where I'm filming this today, but you guys can see, I mean, I've already rotated these once. I've had them for 7,000 miles. My guess is I probably have maybe another 4,000 or 5,000 miles. I'll be like 10 to 11,000 miles after changing these out. These have the 245s. I'm actually gonna be putting probably the 275s on. If anybody has any recommendations on what to go with, let me know. If there's people out there that can make these cars go 20, 30, 40,000 miles without having to change the tires, kudos to you. You do not rod your car, you do not drive your car. If you do, then I want to know exactly what you're doing. But the tires that come on these aren't great. And honestly, you're going to go through them really quick just based on the power of these cars. They need a wider base to them. And that's why Dodge went with the wide bodies, is so they could get a bigger tire under there to match the horsepower and torque of these cars. So one question I kind of want to ask myself, and hopefully it will help you guys out there as you're looking to maybe purchase a Dodge Challenger, is would I buy a Dodge Challenger Scat Pack again, or would I get a different model? And honestly, the answer is 100% yes, I would. I wished my car had the shaker option. That is the only thing that I really care about that my car doesn't have, that I wish it had. But based on the deal that I got for this car, I paid around 33 grand for it, brand new. I can't complain. I've not seen a better deal than that, and I look quite a bit. Would I get a Hellcat? To be honest, guys, if you look out there with Hellcats, the pricing for them, they do not hold their retail value very well at all. I would love a Hellcat. I don't know who wouldn't want a Hellcat. And I'll make a bigger video to kind of dive into that later. But for the cost of insurance, for the cost of fuel, for the cost of having 6-piston Brembos to replace those, it's not something in the cards for me. I would love someday to have a Hellcat. If you are buying a Scat Pack, you guys are very limited in terms of modifying these cars. And when I say modifying, I'm talking about the engine components. I get asked a lot of time, hey, what mods are you doing? These cars are pretty much maxed out from a Scat Pack perspective in terms of what you can do to actually add power to these cars. They are they're pretty much maxed. And I'm sure someone out there can have ways that they can convince me into maybe they're not, but from every video that I've seen out there from studies, if you're buying a Scat Pack and you want to modify it, it is not the model that you want to start modifying. If you do want to modify, however, I recommend going with the 5.7 liter. And there's several people out there that have thrown superchargers on them, pro chargers, and those cars actually can be a lot more receptive to those changes. But after you put in all those changes, what is the performance compared to a Scat Pack? So that's something that you have to ask yourselves. But for me, for what I was looking for, had I do this again, the only thing I would have changed is getting that shaker hood option. All right, guys, so just wrapping up. I love my car. Wouldn't change anything about it. To anybody out there striving for a car, striving to that next thing, keep at it, guys. At the time I bought this car, probably shouldn't have bought this car, but I found such a good deal, it was worth doing. But guys, life's too short. You know, I can't wait to get a second car. I won't be selling this. I'll get a second car. But I love this car, guys. I love everything about it. Dodge did a phenomenal job. Kudos to anybody out there, whether you have an import, muscle car, whatever it is, guys, whatever your passion is around cars, let's embrace it. Enjoy what you have. Show off what you have. Over this past year, I've gotten a couple scratches, a couple nicks here and there. But you know what, guys? That used to drive me nuts, but I'm of the mindset now that I want to use my car. I want to enjoy it, and those things are going to happen. And so, guys, if you're out there and you're thinking about getting one of these cars, I highly recommend doing it. Scat Packs right now are holding their value extremely well. They're in high demand versus the quantity that they have of them available. So, guys, I have no regrets. And just thank you guys for all the support on the channel. Thank you for allowing me to bring you this car content. That's kind of my 1 year overview of my car, and I can't wait to cover maybe years 2, 3, 4, and 5 down the road if you guys are still watching. But thank you guys for all the support. We'll catch you next time.